Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm so honored sometimes when individuals reach out to me and say, I watch your video and I really appreciate what you've got to offer. Or they might say, I see where you're coming from and I really try to understand your point of view. But I wanted to also consider this. And this kind of comment or remark will come from a public figure, someone who, is in the trenches and see things that I don't see. And so I always stand corrected. If you bring facts, I am not one of those individuals who want to insist on being right. You bring me facts or you say, here's an alternative argument, and I will consider that and I will examine that. So remember, it doesn't matter how small your channel is. You might say, it's not important, or what you have to offer is not important, but that's not true because it's the World Wide Web. And so people will see. And that's why you really have to, make the effort, that conscious effort to just be sober most of the time. We all get emotional sometimes about things and we're scared about things sometimes or nervous in some cases. But be mindful that what you put out here, you're not just putting it out for people who are going to agree with you. There are others who are not going to agree with you. And I have no problems with that. But if you're going to disagree and you're going to engage me in a conversation where you don't allow me to have a voice, that's where I have the problem. Now, over the years of doing this, I have, done videos and individuals have addressed it publicly, whether it be in leadership role or conversations. You hear the argument. One video I did, talked about my experience with oppression, and a leader dealt with it and he publicly addressed it, and he said we have to be really careful and listen to what people are saying. Why are people saying these things? There's a reason. So as opposed to taking offense to it, maybe we need to ask these individuals where they're coming from, hear their stories. And I truly appreciated it. And today's video is really from someone who reached out to me, someone who was in the news recently in Jamaica. And the person said, I have watched you over the years. And, I watched your video early on, very early on when you started doing your video talking about, being abused and held in your home, as a hostage pretty much. And from then I was just keeping my eyes on you because that was my story and no one knew. This woman says that when you look at her lifestyle and you look at her experiences and how she gets to travel overseas and she has parties and things like that in her home, no one would ever imagine that she is an abused woman. And to keep up the charade, she talks about how wonderful her partner is. Meantime, it was very common occurrence for this man to slap and shove her around and sometimes do it in front of very strong people. And I use the word strong, instead of powerful. And so, recently, there's a showing of the things that she's endured privately. But here's the thing, here's the discussion I've had with this lady, that after it comes out, where it's no longer hidden and she's feeling a sense of relief, even though it's a painful thing for her, she's feeling this sense of relief that now I don't have to hide it anymore. I don't have to pretend anymore. The table got turned on her and now she is now seen as some kind of villain because she's not taking certain action. And this woman is saying so many women, the worst thing to say about other women is to say that we are often the ones who are most unkind, most critical of our sisters in the world. Because here's the story now is, well, you are deserving of the abuse because you're not prosecuting the person who abused you. And this is also said about women who endure the R word, because they say, why aren't you telling us who the victim is? See, a lot of persons that are telling you to prosecute these ones who violate you, or to, say the name of the ones who harmed you, they're not just doing it because they care for you. They're just doing it because they're nosy. They just love the mess. They just love more stories to go gossip about. They're not thinking about the well-being of these individuals. And they fail to understand that if someone is in a position of power, therefore there are a lot of persons who are going to protect them. There are things that they're going to be able to excuse themselves out of. And you better believe it that when you're wealthy or you're rich or you're of some importance in the eyes of people, you're always going to find someone to help you cover your tracks, to help to protect you from prosecution. Also, you are not in that space. You're not the one enduring it. When someone comes to you and says, you better keep your mouth shut or you will not be able to live freely anywhere. It's so easy for you to decide, speak up. Speak up for who? Sometimes a person has to decide that I want to live. Because when a person is driving and they get in an accident and you hear that they die in an accident, nobody questions anything. When people are powerful, they're able to do things to you and you will not know the difference. Very easy for someone to be run off the road. Very easy for someone to be mugged. And so we judge these women. After we find out that they are victims, we further re-victimize them with our careless thinking and our quick tongue and judgment upon these individuals. The most important thing is if a person is in a situation where they're being abused, the best thing you can do for those individuals is to encourage them and to ask them questions that allow them or give them the tools that allow them to make the decision that brings them to safety. In Jamaica, it's a common occurrence for women to be shoved, to be slapped, to be verbally and financially abused. And you can say all you want to say. You're not there. You're not living their life. Sometimes they have to decide that there is a thing I need to do with my career, with my job, with whatever. I have to take my time and take my hand out of the lion's mouth. Because you're not the one who's going to end up 6 feet under. So they have to be meticulous. When you're dealing with narcissists or you're dealing with abusive persons, male or female, you have to be very cautious about how you remove yourself. So I understand why a woman would want to leave an abusive situation without getting that man in trouble. Because when you're dealing with these violent kinds of individuals, they don't care about living sometimes. They will put your lights out and take theirs too. It's not that easy. Stop judging things that you don't understand. And if a woman is a victim or is victimized, don't add to that. And so I just want to say to the lady that reached out to me, bless up yourself. It will get better. It takes time. And a lot of us suffer from Stockholm syndrome. And it doesn't just relate to just racial situations. It is in this situation with people that we might love. And sometimes we really deeply, truly care for these ones. And even when we decide we want to go, we still want the best for them. That is called love. That really is unconditional love. Someone could hurt you and you still don't wish them evil. Not all of us have this wicked heart. I always think of myself, if somebody asked me to introduce myself, who am I? I'm compassionate. I am cautious, yes. but I'm resilient. And that's the thing with a lot of persons who've endured, these kinds of abuse. They're resilient. If you're going through something today and you need to make up your mind about leaving, you know, make that decision. Take your time. Find persons who are not quick or eager to judge you, will support you, will be there for you, when you need it. Bless up yourself, everyone. It's a beautiful world, but there's a lot of terrible things that happen in it. And if you don't understand it, just be quiet. Please stay blessed.